Everything is very significant. This is a way also to portray desire, because it changed the atmosphere of the room, and so it changed we are now in the same water, we are now in the same atmosphere. So this is also why I think it's something very relevant in the way that Céline would direct us, because we don't overplay, because it's very simple. It's not about us, it's about the air changing.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
This is a very special episode of Back to One. Last year in September, I sat down with the stars of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Noémie Merlant and Adèle Haenel, and their director, Céline Sciamma. On this show, I only sit down with one actor every week. So for me to sit down with two actors and their director from the same movie, it must be very special. And this is a very special film. For me, it's the purest example in recent memory of a perfect synthesis of direction and performance. The exemplary work of these three women combined to create an extremely rare cinematic event. As illustrated by the first thing I say to them in this conversation, I might be a little bit obsessed. I am happy that this film will not be nominated for an Oscar because it will soil it. And I'm happy that it didn't win the Palme d'Or because that's beneath it. I can talk for an hour to you, Céline, about different layers of it that I appreciate. The use and non-use of music, the playing with my anticipation for certain cinematic endeavors that were going on in the film. The idea of it happening post Me Too, and how me as a man, as a straight man, if I saw this before Me Too, I would have appreciated it in a different way. Now I'm, it all works in, and it's something very, very special. But because this is an acting podcast, we have to kind of keep it about performance. Noémie, you talked about how you didn't meet Adèle before the production began, right? And all of that work was done on camera in the present moment.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if that was something that you were worried about. How did you trust, Céline, that these things would happen on camera?
Actually, I met Adèle before at the audition. She was there, and so I had the chance to try something with her and with Céline at this audition, and so this comforted me. Like I trust her, I trust them, because I felt at this audition that the way Céline wants to work and Adèle wants to work is an equality, collaboration. We all collaborators, and everything is in the script, but we like the looks, the breathing, and all the words, the text is in the script, but we still have a space to play. And Adèle was there at the audition, and she was, just really excited, and she was, already proposing things, and I knew that something will work, because we are all in the same. At the same point, we want the same. We want to work. We want to play. We want to make fun, and we want to do something, good. And even if we have restraint, we want to get out of our comfort zone, and that's the point. So when we started to shoot the movie, we didn't rehearse together. But we start at the same point we were at the audition. Just okay, now we are in the present. We have restraint from the text and the script. But now let's play. And each time, sometime Adèle was looking at me. I knew that she would look at me, but I don't know how she would look at me, for example. So it was a new way every time. It was a new new proposition, and so I was responding differently, and the opposite, all the time was like that, and so we built this relation of love and collaborators, Adèle, Céline, and me, as in the movie Marianne and Eloise. It was, in a parallel.
Yes, and I felt that really strongly the second time I watched it. This is a movie that, rewards multiple viewings to understand this. Adèle, you talked about this traveling from object to subject, and you talk about 3 different parts. Right? That's not the right word.
No, it's right. Steps. Okay.
Yeah, steps. Yeah. First of all, tell me how much Céline was in collaboration with you on that idea of, because this is kind of like a radical performance idea in a way.
Well, she was not aware of it.
No.
That's amazing.
I discovered it.
No, because
in promo.
But to me, it was very clear. I mean, if she, I had I don't know, all the scenes, the resume of all the scenes, I had it on my glass Mac, so I just knew I had the 3 portion, because we didn't shot in the continuity. So I just have to say okay, now we are here. So it's the 3 part. The first part is I called it it's a Japanese part. So because even if it's a bit of cliche, but I wanted to use, to do it when I think about No, or the theater No, something like that. Even if it's a cliche, I mean, it's not exactly that, but it's just the way I think about it. Just make me think that you use your face as a mask. Yeah. You use your face as if you were not there or just behind something. So this was the first phase, and then after there's I call it dégel. So.
Unfrozen.
Oh yeah, and you said it like a crack.
Yeah, crackle, but so it's just when you start to have the intimacy that comes, then you start to crackle. So there's this kind of transition phase, and then the last one is the warmest phase. So it's when I talk about that, I say it's more spontaneous, it's more intense, more joyful, more everything. Actually, it's more alive.
Yeah.
So this was the plan. And at the beginning, I thought about this idea because I wanted to create this impression of an inside. When I say traveling, it's the word in France, which is the movement of the camera on the rail,
Oh.
So this is
like a dolly.
Like a dolly, yeah. This is the word I'm looking for. So it's like dolly movement, but while through acting. This is what I was trying to do. And so it's a bit like an idea. And because the movie was about gazes.
Yeah.
So I thought my character is not a character that is based on a psychological unity with his own history, blah, blah, blah. This past, the future, I don't care about that. I don't build my character this way usually, but for this one, absolutely not. I wanted to create a character that would be not his own psychological unity, but an object seeing through the eyes of somebody else, which would be Marianne. So I try to have this movement inside through acting that would be this way. I was talking about Picasso because it's just Picasso. He made this like all the people, not only he's not the only one who did that, but he put even the Egyptian, they put sometimes the face and the foot are not possible to be on the same level, but it's still the way he sees, because art is also about what you see, the relationship you make through element in life. You create a representation because you put in connection stuff that are in our common eyes, not in relationship. I don't know how to say that, but it's the way you link this thing. So when he decided to put the nose, the eyes, the ear, whatever on the same level, he chose to offer his perspective on reality. So I tried to do something like that, but with acting.
This is fascinating, but I'm trying.
William Dafoe had never said that before. So
I am trying to understand, though, moment to moment, how you can play such a complex, philosophical idea. You know what I mean? Moment to moment.
Well, it's all about, to me, the art of acting is about trying philosophical hypothesis or idea on the field. It's like, okay, I believe this is interesting. This is my idea. This is the rule I settle in my head, and I'm just gonna like try to see what it brings when you like hit the reality with this thing. So this is the first point, and second, it's huge. In my mind, it's huge. I'm always like, this is my like great fantasy, but when it hits the reality, it became something else. So it's not the pure form of it. It's just like, I really want it to be pure, but as when you strike the reality, it's too complex. It creates other waves, blah, blah, blah. So but it's not, you don't reach the point you wanted to reach, but still, I think there is the trace of the journey.
And then it comes to me, and then it's in me as something mysterious that it wouldn't have been if you didn't have all those complex things. But the person who set the field is here, and that's important. What you did to have these artists, authors as you call them, be able to confidently have authorship. How was that important to you, Céline? And what were you doing moment to moment yourself to keep that going?
Well, it was part of my desire to make this film. Is also, and as a departure from my previous work, is that I would work for the first time with professional actresses. It's, right. Otherwise I used to, they would become actresses in the process of making the film.
Adèle wasn't a professional actress when you first...
No, I wasn't.
Water Lilies, yeah.
No, but still there was... No, she wasn't. No,
for sure, I wasn't.
But that's how I learned. But we became professional together. I wasn't professional either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you work with kids and teenagers, you're pretty much in charge and you're very lonely. It's a beautiful experience, but you're lonely with the film. You're alone with the film, with the whole process. Of course, you give the whole intellectual outline of the film to your cast, and it's there's a strong intellectual link to the thing. It's not about taking; it's about them giving you something. But you can't negotiate. When they're not professional, there's things that they won't do. They're not able to do. They're not, and it should stay this way. Whereas with grown-ups character. And grown-up actresses, to me it was like, okay, so now this is a new field, and I'm going to learn from them because they're professionals, and also having this companionship with Adèle for a lot of years, I saw her growing as an actress, and we were talking also about her intellectual process. So I was really, really confident that I would learn a lot from them. So that's how you make it happen also. And I wasn't in the process of Adèle's philosophy for her character or neither Noémie's. It's not about discussing this. No. It's about it's also about the language that you build from scene to scene. And the first time Adèle spoke as her character, I was totally surprised at how she embodied it. Like, I said, oh, okay, this is a very strong proposition, and now we're going to work around that. But also, like how she pitched her voice, like this was part of the process of building the character. I wanted Adèle to pitch her voice a little bit higher than usual, so she knew that. We talked about it, but we didn't try it. We weren't like, it wasn't like that. No. It was like she just did it, and then it was more and more accurate. And even in the process of post-production, when we did post-synchro, they watched the film. Like, for instance, sometimes there's this thing where you do post-synchronization. Is this the right word? Would you do yeah. And the actresses, they haven't seen the film, which is, I think, totally crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
So they were the first one to see the film, even though it was just like not totally done with the editing, but so that they would see what we built together, and they could then, and so there were things we had to redo because of the because of technical sound thing. But there were also things that Adèle said, watching the film, said, I want to do this line again. And I was like, okay, And we didn't need to do it. I was happy with it, and the sound person were happy with it. But she said, I want to do this in a different way. And everything went boom. There's like one word that there's a yes on the beach. It just says yes when they say it's, she wants to go to swim. And Noémie says, oh, do you know to swim? Or maybe when the sea will be more calm. And she says yes. And that's something that she wanted to redo. And there's a miracle in that yes. Really actually just broke my heart. And it's just being more and more accurate in the process, in the whole process of making the films, even in post-production.
Right.
It's all about details as well, as Noémie says. It means, I mean, we have like ideals, but then we are like in the inner kitchen. We are just like, it's line after line, it's scene after scenes, and we are just always like, okay, I want to reach that point, so I think I have to change the rhythm, I have to change the melody, I have to, like, I want to see less the actress and more the character, for example, as well. That's why also we redid the line in post-production, because I could felt, I mean, I'm myself, so I know, but I could felt like, oh, I was scared that my tongue would slip on that precise line, so I can see that I'm a bit stressed, and I don't like this feeling because it brings back the actress, and you lose a bit the character. I wanted to, so thing like that. But so to say, as she's settling the field, she settled it in she has a very rhythmic way of thinking, the direction of acting. She's not trying to, I mean, of course we are talking about emotions, we are talking about like the main movement, but what Céline really cares about is about rhythm, and is about like opening and closing. It's like you close, you open, and then you know that, for example, she would pay so much attention, like if the scenes would end with an in or out breathing. Like, for example, thing like that, or just like at this moment you have to, for example, I remember a gesture that Noémie should do at the end of the scene when she's putting back the corset, she's just like supposed to just make it tight again. And this was, for example, something that Céline really cares about, because she said like, no, you do 1, 2, 3, check, because she know that she would edit after. And just it seems like a bit simple, but it's our meeting point on the scene. We had several meeting points like that.
One of the things you said was the gazes, the looks are like words. And when she first sits down and poses for you, that's a very important moment that I didn't realize until the second time. It's like the end of the act there or something. Something very, very important happens there. And this time I noticed something with you, Noémie, what she was giving you and what you were giving her back. But I wanted to just know if you remembered this moment and what you were playing there when she first sits down to pose.
Well, I remember we would say, like, there's this look at me, which is like, for the first time, the painter and the model is here, and the sentence that the painter says is look at me. So it's not about her looking at the model. So there's this kind of paradox. We could say, pitching the scene would be, it's the first time she's going to look at the model as a model, but it's actually the first time that the model's going to look at the painter.
Yeah,
that's where suddenly she's confronted to what she feels, and she's moved.
Yeah, it's like she's looking at you for the first time in a way.
And for the first time, I was looking at her to paint her in secret. Yeah. So at that moment when I asked kind of this order, look at me, and I'm surprised and shocked by something that I couldn't imagine. Like this is a detail, like I said, but this is where start everything. Like it's the magic, of love, because you're surprised of something you were not expecting. And so I was trying to, as I was playing, I was trying to be really like, okay, I will ask her like really in my I'm doing my job, I will ask her, like, because I'm someone who like to control, things, to be concentrate. So look at me, and then she look at me, and that's the moment where start the sharing, and that is kind of a huge, big thing.
Yes.
And so I was trying to open. It was all about open things. So open my eyes and open my heart and open even just the air, something in the air, like, and receive Eloise, Adèle, receive her in my environment. So I think it was something like that.
And it's so perfect how something so big as that was played so finely that you can just feel it. What was that?
I think it's an in-breathing.
Yes.
She does, like, when I talk about it's like something like there's very, very something to do with the breathing in there. And I think this looks is really, I think, no, you do like, there's something with, just something you get into it. So.
About the groove of the face, because also because in the shot, reverse shot process, which is something that I'd never done before, very few shot, reverse shot in my previous film. Well, I think we shot it Adèle first. And so then I have this as a reference. I know what she sent, and maybe she's going to send something different when the camera is not on her, obviously. But I have this groove that she did, and so then also I can talk to Noémie because it's silence, and I can tell her also, like, open your mouth, which is something that is really like an event,
Yes.
You open your mouth and breathe. So we would also craft things on the moment based on what was happening between them, and half of it is not on camera because we're not on Adèle, but we have in mind what she did, and also so I could adjust also and be even myself, be in the present, and also really about the breathing and looking. And so this, sometimes we could really create like a whole, I don't know how you say that, but the whole package of looks and breathing, and we would do it in the present.
Yeah, I definitely want to say something.
Yeah, you do.
No, what I want to say is also the way that, I mean, it's a detail, the fact that she opened her mouth, but it creates, like, the environment, the air becomes essential. There is something in the air, because then you can feel like almost like a wave through the air, So it's a way that it changed the quality of the atmosphere. So paying attention, and that is what Céline does in her movie. It's really, like we say, ligne claire for the comics, like
Clear line.
Yeah. And it's all about clear line. So then, because you pay attention to details, because there is no, like, if you look at the movie, it's like the frame out empty. There is no like thousands of stuff in the frame, like, that are supposed to be there because it's the 18th century. So we put all that, like, stuff that are usually in the 18th century films. So because there is no, everything is very significant. This is a way also to portray desire, because it changed the atmosphere of the room, and so it changed we are now in the same water, we are now in the same atmosphere. So this is also why I think it's something very relevant in the way that Céline would direct us, because we don't overplay, because it's very simple. It's not about us, it's about the air changing. So,
and there's a little bit of sound editing in that moment that is very discreet, but there's a little bit of rain happening on when Noémie's open her mouth.
Oh, I gotta see it again.
Yeah. I think if I can add something, I think all the movie is built like that, and so the acting too about sobriety.
Yeah.
Like example for the music, there is just, there's two musics, and that's all. And the fact that there was just two music, you can really, it comes up, it's more profound, more deep. You wait to hear it, because you feel the silence first, and from the silence you feel the music. And it's the same for the acting. Like, it's not like, if there is a lot of things in the play, and it's different kind of acting, but if when it's too much, then I think you imagine and phantasm, and the erotic is less, because everything is offered to you, And when you can just take the time, and this movie take the time, leave the silence and let the, all the details comes.
Yes.
And all the details of what we say and what we don't say when we fall in love, how we look, how we touch, and everything comes out.
Yes.
And so I think this acting in the retenue,
Holding back
in the acting, I think it's really powerful and more, and you use more your imagination, and I think we need that.
It doesn't all rely on us. Like, it's not like separate bodies, like bodies. Acting is about creating a new atmosphere. So when we don't find a solution, sometimes we don't find a solution of expression to a specific emotion on our face or in our body. Yeah. This is why when I talk about the atmosphere, there's also a certain, I don't know how to say it, but it's also about how we can try to change not our relationship between the two of us, but between us and the space. Yeah. And this is also like a stakes for filmmakers to try to not only rely on the face of the actor or on their separate body, but try to create this common body. So good luck with that.
Yes. We have to talk about this because you've mentioned it a lot and you've kind of talked about it. The joy.
Well, it's difficult to talk about joy, but there was definitely the movies. Do you want to speak?
No, it's okay. Because it's an acting podcast. This is what I want to speak.
Breathing is important. You can't decide. I mean, yes, you can decide things are going to be joyful, I think. It's not something that happens because there's magic. It's like you have to commit to the fact that you're going to have the good distance with things, that even though you're doing something really, really important for yourself and maybe for the world, hopefully, there's not going to be those kind of tension. There's not going to be like hierarchy of, and this is important, so we should be. It's really about deciding that things are going to be joyful, because then you're going to be at that standard. So it's not about we had luck because we loved each other, whatever. It's a decision that you're going to have the good distance. You're going to be pissed off about silly things, like, for instance, I wanted gray weather. I went to Brittany because I wanted to be Bronte sisters. I wanted it to be gray and rainy and had this big sun. And I just said, well, that's a good news, because why wouldn't it be? I don't know, it's about not fetishizing what you're going to do. And it's about, deciding that this is going to be happy. So you're going to have the good distance with things. Yeah.
And in the process of acting, it's very important to get this lightness, because I think when it strikes, when acting strikes is when there's you have your ideas, but there's kind of, it's like a bit, I said sparkle, but it's this kind of lightness thing that is in life, even if you have a hard moment or whatever, there's always this kind of, you can face it, actually. So it's all about that. And for me, joy is also believing that whatever the shape, it doesn't matter if there's no perfect shape, but there is a good relationship to shape. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So art is not something that is this, I don't know how to say it, but there's no perfect shape. So you can a bit relax with that and just also try to do it, try to find the rhythm that would be the rhythm for the film and eternity, this is it now. But when you do it, you just know it's because it was that day, and you have this idea that we talked about before, about the dolly thing, for example. And you have your fellow actress with who you play, and when you invent, makes you a bit, there's a little bit less weight on your shoulder when you have this perspective.
As you see, we are exciting about what we do. And I think when we create something, we are happy. And when we create something, we have to be in the present moment. And it's when you're in the present moment that you have the good distance with the things, and that so if you're in the present moment, you open to all the accident and all what can happen. And so if you are in this spirit that I think we all are, because that's how Céline wants to work, and she is the one who opened the thing first to let us all come. So then it was in joy and humor, a lot of humor in this shooting. Céline has a big capacity of, how you say, humor, black jokes. And so this is an important thing also, to put humor on what we do.
Yes. Céline, Sciamma, Adèle, Haenel, Noémie, Merlant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mia Murray helped me produce this episode. She's a young film student in New York City who also happens to be obsessed with Portrait of a Lady on Fire. In January, we went to see it at the Museum of the Moving Image. It was my 7th time seeing the movie, her 3rd. I turned on the recorder afterwards.
How does this movie tangibly inspire you as an artist and as a woman?
During this, I was trying to focus on the choices Céline made technically, like with camera work and things like that. And as a young filmmaker, and I don't know a lot about, cinematography, I mean, I just think those choices were definitely personal, and they added to the story. And you could tell that there was just so much dedication, and I just hope I can one day make something with that, putting my all on it.
And what about as a woman? Like, I don't want some kind of profound answer. I mean for real, for you, just when you walk out of that as a woman, when you see a story like that being told about women, how does that inspire you as a woman?
I think stepping out of this, I'm not afraid to tell whatever story I want to. I don't have to cater to any kind of audience. And I can make it as specific, whatever story I want to tell, as specific as possible, or very broad. Like, I can do it for me, and I can do it for women, because there's going to be other people out there like me who are inspired or who want stories like this.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of IFP, the Independent Filmmaker Project. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.